All right, welcome back to another walkthrough video. This is for question H. So once again, I'll share my screen. So this time the order is P pointing to a list node storing 1 as the value. That points to a list node pointing to 2 as its value. And Q has 3.4. And we want to change this to P pointed 321 and then Q pointed just 4. All right, so just like the video for G, I'm gonna switch to the whiteboard view. All right, so once again, I always recommend drawing these out. So we got P, and P got 1, 2. We're gonna null terminate it. Q got 3, and then 4. And our final intended result was P is 3, 2, 1, null. Q is 4, no, just 4. All right. So as mentioned during the last video, the temp variable strategy is that before we make changes to a node that might make us lose it, once again, if we don't have any arrows pointing to an object, we lose it. That means we're gonna have an arrow pointing to it and create a reference so that even if we lose that arrow, we still have reference to that node and we don't lose it. And actually, that will be our first step. Let's create a temp to 4, although we're not going to lose that yet, just yet. We are going to do this though. We're going to say q.next. So we want 3 to go to 2, right? So we are essentially losing it right away, except that instead of it going null, we're going to replace it with the next field pointing this way. So let's represent these first two steps with codes. We got list node temp equals q dot next. And then we got q dot next equals p dot next. All right, so those are our first two steps. Next, we want 2 point to 1, right? So I'm gonna change that field to point to 1. Zoom out a little bit. So we got 1, 3 point to 2 point to 1 now. So how do we say that? We can say q dot next equals p. P is pointed to by it is pointing to 1 right there. And then next we're gonna say we want to get rid of that arrow, this one right there. Whoops, don't want to lose that one. But we do want this to be null, right? Because 1 points to a null at the end. So we're gonna say p dot next equals null. All right. Next, p is still pointing to that 1 there, but we've been building up the 3, 2, 1 chain, right? That needs to be represented by p, not q. So we're just gonna say p equals q. And in the diagram, we're gonna say p points to the same place that q is pointing to. So that means it points to here. So yeah, we do have p pointing to 3, pointing to 2, pointing to 1. We got that first step. Lastly, we want q to point to 4. Thankfully, at the very beginning, we said we want temp to store q.next. We didn't really touch temp since then, but it is going to come handy now, as we can just say q equals temp. All right, let's look at our final result. So we got, once again, p pointing to 3, pointing to 2, pointing to 1, and then q pointing to 4 with null terminations on 1 and 4. That is the final result we want. So let's go to add. And input the code we just did. So we're going to say, first of all, list node temp equals F4, so q.next originally. Then we're going to say q.next equals p.next. q.next.next equals p. p.next equals null. p equals q. And then q equals temp. All right, let's run, and that works. All right, that was the walkthrough for question H.